Have you seen?
Seen what?
They put furries in the new Monster Manual.
What are you talking about?
And they're calling them animal lords.
You're not making any sense. What the hell is an animal lord?
They're celestial beings that are meant to physically embody and represent a specific animal type and are the protectors of these animals.
That actually sounds pretty cool.
Oh God, they've already got their hooks into you.
You sound like a crazy person.
Let me just explain. So animal lords can either take the form of a giant version of that animal, a regular version of them, or humanoids with subtle animalistic features.
What exactly defines a subtle animalistic feature?
Picture bunny ears, fox ears, cat ears. Have you ever seen Aurora or Ari from League of Legends?
Can't say I have.
Well, don't say I didn't warn you.
Ah, okay, I see what you're saying now. That's an interesting design choice. Are there any non-celestial furry options?
There are at least a few very obscure ones that would be incredibly hard to fetishize.
Believe me, people will find a way.
Good point. I really don't want to see any fan art for the salmon, sloth, or praying mantis animal lords then.
Yeah, there's some terrifyingly talented people out there, but ignoring all of that, how do they functionally work?
Good point. Let's stick to their stat blocks. So within the animal lords, you've got 3 distinct typings. Hunters being your gators, wolves, and hawk types. Foragers being your bear, rabbit, and stag types, and sages being the more laid-back owl, turtle, and elephant types. And then each of these categories of animal lords give you unique traits and actions to assist in combat.
I actually love it. It's kind of like they have their own class system.
And then it kind of just gets even better from there because all animal lords have legendary resistances and actions alongside multiple melee and range attacks, spell casting, which is even juicier just for sages, the ability to conjure an animal spirit and hurl it at your target like a crazy cat lady, shape-shifting, and even type-specific actions like hunters having advantage on all attack rolls against creatures, foragers getting temporary health, and sages giving disadvantage on a target's attack rolls.
Don't get all mad at me, but they actually seem fun.
And how have I gone this long without mentioning lordly presence? Any creature within 30 feet of the furry in question must succeed on a DC 20 wisdom saving throw, and when they fail, it triggers either a forage, hunter, or sage specific ability like becoming frightened, charmed, taking 3d6 psychic damage, or subtracting 1d4 from all saving throws for its next turn.
They just keep getting better and better.
And then you slap on a redefined challenge rating of 20, and there you have it. Animal lords.
Wow, CR 20? Who'd have thought the furries could throw hands? Is that all that's new in the Monster Manual?
Not even close. Boy, hags.
What?
Pretty straightforward. Hags can be boys now, you know, me and all the boys, hagging it up together.
Does that affect their stat block, or?
Well, no, but maybe I'm not being clear enough.
No, I'm pretty sure I'm understanding. I just didn't know if there was more to it.
And I guess there's an arch hag, which is fine, I guess. Well, don't gloss over the cooler thing. Cooler? Okay, well, they do have a juicy high CR, which is 21, and although the stat block is pretty cool, I think it's the entire flavor of them that really makes them shine. Please elaborate. Well, if you think making a deal with a hag is questionable, making a deal with an arch hag is 1,000 times worse because the information, magic, or secrets that they hold are way more valuable, so the cost for these can take the form of a year of one's life, one's memories being erased, or the ability not to feel sadness ever again.
That's awful.
I know, right? But it gets even cooler because if it comes down to violence, the only way to actually defeat an arch hag is to find and bring them to the thing that they hate most in the entire world, which they refer to as the anathema. I don't know how to say words, but there's a table of things that they care about as examples, like the bones of their first love, a gift from the hag's twin, a thread from the Lady of Pain's robes, or best of all, the multiverse's worst pun. How is that the best of all? Do you even know me?
Yeah, good point. So, is this information about what they hate the most, like, easy to discover?
Come on, of course not. So not only do we have to try and defeat them in combat, but in a sense we also have to kind of befriend them or get to know them over an extended period of time to learn what they hate the most, fetch it, which I assume would be months of work in of itself, and then bring it back and refight them. Bingo!
Cool! Just an extra terrifying thought that jumped into my mind. Can an archhag be part of a coven?
You better believe it, and that's what makes them so fucking challenging. You very well may need to source and retrieve 3 different of these anathemas of wildly different origins to attempt to best the 3 archhags who all have a multitude of legendary resistances, magic resistances, access to coven magic, kind of lair actions which have changed a lot, and immense damage output.
Well, that's just fun.
We haven't even got to my favorite ability, Tongue Twister. It's a modified counterspell, and if the target of the counterspell fails their saving throw, they become cursed, meaning that they can't cast spells with verbal components, and whenever they speak, they say the opposite of what they actually mean. I want to run an Archhag like now. Well, the new Monster Manual doesn't come out until the 18th of February, but you could absolutely get a head start on having some of the artwork prepared.
But I can't draw to save myself.
You don't need to, silly, because Cheipeku tokens will do all the hard work for you.
Okay, how is that possible?
Well, if we simply go onto Cheipeku's website, navigate to their token creator and use the Sea Hag as a template, we can adjust the colors, poses, accessories, and border to fit whatever theme we're going for in a beautiful hand-drawn art style. And here we go. That looks nice and archhaggy.
Well, that took no time at all.
Exactly, and if that somehow still seems like too much effort, there's a randomizer function that lets you give each monster a unique appearance immediately.
It's actually incredible. Could I use it for my player tokens?
You sure could, because they've got every species choice you could ever want, like elf, gnome, genasi, centaur, duck, gingerbread man.
I'm in love.
So that, in tandem with the 15 new creature tokens added every week, ensures that you'll never not have a token that you might need.
Well, before I run off and go and create several dozen tokens, did they introduce anything else into the Monster Manual?
Of course. Have you ever seen Monster House?
Does a bear shit in the woods?
Depends if they're a druid, but back on the Monster House, that exists now, but it could be a tavern, house, or even a dungeon that is a living, breathing creature.
So the idea of warehouses weren't that far-fetched at all.
Precisely. They're called haunting revenants, and they're essentially gargantuan undead revenants at a location that is associated with some form of mass death, and those who find themselves unfortunately inside of one of them may be battered with animated furnishings or something way more unsettling.
Well, that's a bit spooky.
Yeah, and they've got some pretty nifty new traits and abilities that are worth mentioning, like anyone who tries to cast a spell while inside of one of them must succeed on a DC 17 Constitution saving throw, and if they fail, so does the spell.
So an almost permanent counterspell zone. Terrifying.
Even more terrifying is its invitation action, which targets a 60-foot cone, DC 17 Charisma saving throw, and on a fail, you're teleported inside of the Haunting Revenant.
Okay, but couldn't I just walk out the front door?
I may have forgot to mention that the only way of leaving this haunted house is with a spell that allows for planar travel.
Well, that makes things a little bit more complicated and fun.
My thoughts exactly, and if you think that's fun, we haven't even gotten to the blob.
This one sounds cute.
Of annihilation.
And instantly not cute.
It's a blob titan that forms as a byproduct from the corpses of gods that is ever expanding as it consumes everything in its path, including said god's corpse.
How are you meant to destroy that?
I don't have to figure that out.
So why would one willingly seek out one of these things to try and fight?
Well, that's where it gets fun, because despite the ever-consuming acidic nature of these blobs, one thing that can withstand the devouring process is magical items.
So there might be several hundred magical items inside of them to go and retrieve?
Bingo! So I guess the only question is, does multiverse magical bounty honey tickle your fancy?
It does! It really does! But you said magic items were just one thing that could exist within this blob. What else would survive?
Well, technically, a Tarask could live inside of one.
Nope. Fuck that.
Yeah, fair enough. Maybe an elemental cataclysm is more your speed.
I highly fucking doubt it is.
Oh, come on. They're just the physical representation of elemental chaos.
Yes, I could piece that together myself.
But the artwork's so cool.
Okay, yeah, that is pretty cool. But let me guess, just a bunch of randomized natural disasters?
Well, not random, actually, because the coolest flavor part of them is they hate with an undying passion humanity's impact to the natural environment. So if they were to somehow make their way to the material plane, say goodbye to all man-made cities and structures.
Kinda hard to argue against.
And then, as an added flavor bonus, if somewhere their wake of destruction is ceased or they're destroyed, there's a world-altering elemental alteration that takes place, like extinct animal populations coming back to life, a dramatic increase in the world's temperature, or a sudden gigantic coral reef existing in the middle of the Forgotten Realms.
Neat. How hard are they to kill?
Incredibly. An incredibly high AC, a huge pool of hit points, multi-attacks, immunities to all elemental-based attacks, a cataclysmic event that can happen every 4 to 6 rounds, like being buried in the earth or having a raging storm be cast over you that strikes you with lightning.
Yeah, I assumed as much.
And some legendary actions as well. How about a monster on a smaller scale?
Did you say bigger? No, I didn't.
Well then let's talk about the Colossus.
Quite literally the opposite.
They are literal gargantuan titan constructs that are made to represent a specific deity that are imbued with the power of that deity to bring them to life if that deity is happy with the representation of them. Do I need to give you a dictionary? 553 health, 23 AC, a challenge rating of 25, 4 legendary resistances. I hate you. Legendary actions, magic resistance, double damage to objects and structures, 3 multi-attacks, a divine beam that they can cast every 5 turns that deals damage in a 300-foot line to all creatures, and if they fail a DC 26 saving throw, they take 10d12 radiant damage. Are you done? Yeah, I'm done. Great, can we calm things down a bit now? Yeah, I'm very sorry, I got a bit too excited. I'll slow things down. Thank you. It is exciting to see you this excited about something, but every monster you just talked about seems like they'd kill our entire adventuring party. Yeah, you're not wrong, but it's just such a fucking awesome monster manual, and there's even a whole new array of creature variants like multiple lower and higher CR vampire types, goblin variants, cultist variants. There is so many different cultists now, and even pirates, and so instead of just having one type of these creatures, you can spice things up and keep combat interesting. Why didn't you lead with this? There's also gender bent versions of pretty much every single creature now because it's 2025 and about damn time. Not to mention, a lot of the stat blocks and CRs have been beefed up for pre-existing monsters, so there's so many more higher level CR monsters for higher level campaigns, which was drastically lacking in the 2014 version. And that's even more exciting. Also, lair actions don't really exist anymore. Instead, there's just some special modifications to the lairs themselves, which is both sucky and fine, I guess. Monsters get more abilities when they're in their lair, but the lair itself doesn't have its own actions necessarily. Well, as a player, I kinda like that, but I can see how that would be upsetting to run. And a big win for martial players as a whole is that immunity to bludgeoning, piercing, and slashing damage from non-magical attacks has been completely removed from all stat blocks. Finally! Also in the index of the book, monsters are broken down into CRs and habitats to help GMs sort through options of what monster they may be looking for, which is so overdue. And that one doesn't affect me all that much either. And there's a lot more treasure options in the Monster Manual for creatures to help you offer better on-theme rewards. And now you've recaught my attention. All in all, it's genuinely fucking awesome. Well, I'm really excited. Outside of maybe all the furry stuff. Yeah, I think that's fair.